According to a report by the United Nations Portal on Humanitarian Affairs, more than 14 million people in the Philippines were affected by last year's Typhoon Haiyan, including 1.4 million residents living along the coastline. To make sure those living along the coastlines are safe, the Filipino government has decided to grow 128 hectares of mangroves along the coastline of Tacloban City. However, can mangroves be used as revetment against the strong waves? Let's take a look in our next report.
A cargo ship swiped ashore, resting among debris and destroyed houses. This is Tacloban City following Typhoon Haiyan. Typhoon Haiyan not only destroyed the coastline, which was filled with lush green grass, but also the houses surrounding the area. A year has passed since the tragedy, and many have rebuilt their homes. However, many houses are still in bad shape. 8-year-old Caesar used to live close to the beach with his family. When Typhoon Haiyan struck, a massive wave washed into his home and took the lives of his parents and 2 younger siblings.
Caesar feels sad all the time. He misses his mother and father.
Unfortunately, nothing can bring back his family. According to an official report, 1.4 million households living along the coastline were affected by the disaster. This is 50-year-old fisherman Pepito, who lives along the coast near Tacloban City with his family of 7. Pepito says he never imagined that Typhoon Haiyan could whip up waves as high as 2-story buildings.
We will run for our lives if a typhoon struck again. We have to stay here because here is my source of income.
Following the disaster, Pepito received approximately $267 from the Tzu Chi Foundation. Thanks to Buddha's NGO, Pepito was able to purchase a new boat, which he named Sky Taiwan. By looking at the beautiful calm ocean, many tend to forget that sometimes nature strikes back.
According to the Filipino government, houses cannot be built within 40 meters of the coastal zone. However, as you can see, many buildings are still sitting right along the shoreline.
There are a lot of families still living in danger zones. When there would be disaster, they would be the first families to be hit by this kind of disaster.
This 78-year-old grandma who lives on the coast with her family lost her daughter to Typhoon Haiyan. Although a year has passed, the senior and her family are still living in a tent.
If a typhoon ever struck here again, I will listen to the government and evacuate.
Will the senior have time to run to safety when a strong wave hits the area?
We are challenged by the identification of 1,364 hectares of land. This is all over the corridor, across the Yolanda corridor.
As the Filipino government cannot relocate tens of thousands of residents living along the coastline, it has decided to grow mangroves near the shoreline instead.
This is bakawan lalaki, no? This is already, I believe, more than 5 months old because of this number of leaves, no?
The government plans to grow 128 hectares of mangroves along the coastline of Tacloban City.
6 or 7 families.
6 to 7 families were saved because they grabbed onto the mangroves when Typhoon Haiyan struck the Philippines.
In a year's time, this mangrove tree will be as tall as a man. The Filipino government plans to grow mangroves along the coastline of Tacloban City to protect the area. As you can see, many residents are risking their lives by living along the shoreline.
Can the government guarantee the safety of residents by growing mangroves along the coastline? By looking into history, one can find the answer.